Welcome to Second Watch, everyone, your direct line to the second mass. I'm Will Wheaton. We have just watched the latest episode of Falling Skies, and after an alien invasion, you would think that it would be easier to make friends with other survivors. But as it turns out, that is not always the case. Who's really a good guy and who is just a bad guy? Tonight we have actors Colin Cunningham, Peter Shinkoda, Mpokwahu, and executive producer and writer Reme Abushan on hand to explain all of that and a little bit more. Good evening, everybody, and welcome.
What's up, dude?
Thanks for being here. Now, when we last saw Pope and Anthony, they were leaving the second mass together to go where?
I don't think Pope has any idea where he's going. It's just time to get the hell away from the second mass.
He's just had
enough
it with
already.
them.
Yeah.
Where we're going, I couldn't tell you, but I just know that I had to go with him, type of thing. My character owed Pope a bit in a weird situation where he never did, but he saved me, and I owed him that much. So regardless of where we were going, I think it was more just supporting him and kind of looking out for him, and also making sure he didn't come back and get the second mass a hard time.
So let's say that he does come back to give the second mass a hard time. Where are Anthony's loyalties going to lie, you think?
That's a good question, Will.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to think second mass, but being the police officer, crime fighter that Anthony is, I could see him maybe sticking out with Pope just in case he needed the help.
Oh, really? Speaking of Pope, Colin, one of my favorite sayings is that the villain is the hero of his own story. Right. What do you think is Pope's story, and what about that appeals to you as an actor?
Ooh, that's tough because it is complex. Everybody comes from a very, very different, complex kind of background. And I've always, again, you know, Pope being the kind of guy who I don't think he fits in anywhere. I don't think he fits in a 9 to 5. He doesn't even necessarily even fit in with an alien apocalypse. And here's the second mass, and you'd think that would be great. Yeah, I've got people that we can all en masse go and fight, but even I think he tires of that. He's definitely a lone wolf, and that's my answer right now.
Reme, how much do you talk with the actors about where their character arcs are going to go as the season evolves?
Well, it's always a tough mix because sometimes I think it's best to withhold some aspects of what we know are going to happen. And actors have often said to me two things. One, they've said, "Oh, I'm glad you didn't tell me until now that that's what was going to happen." And others have said, "Oh, I wish you would have told me, you know, so that I could have maybe played that." So over the course of my career, I hope, I've figured out what the right balance is. I just want the actor to be comfortable and be able to do what they need to do. So if someone really said to me, "You got to tell me what's going on right now, I need to know, it's my process," then I would do it.
Do you know why Anthony and Pope take off together? Or
yes.
It's just, you got it?
Yes,
okay.
But you're not allowed to kidnap me and force me to say anything and then put it on the internet.
I promise nothing.
Okay.
But it's interesting, but as an actor, we need to find that for ourselves.
Yeah.
There may be an answer, and it may be Raimi's answer. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's mine or it's some post.
But when you
Sometimes
know
we
as an
gotta find our
actor, your performance can be specific.
Yeah.
And you can have,
And I have to be honest that I want to make sure that I don't give the actor, you know, I've got my own ideas of what is happening too when you're writing a script. And I know how actors prepare, and I don't want to mess with their internal dialogue either, because I think an actor needs their own internal stuff.
Because that's like an organic reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter, now that we're talking about, dialogue, let's talk about Dai. He is very, very much the strong, silent type, but he is very, very much a badass. What do you think he was doing before he joined up with the second mass?
Well, he clearly is a badass. You can see that from all his actions. But, from the information that I was given from the writers, right back down to Bob Rodat, who wrote the pilot, there was a consistency with Dai. The one thing was that he's morally driven. Okay, so that's what he functions on. And as far as his skill set as a commando, that was all inherited from his father. His father had come from Vietnam and instilled all his war knowledge into Dai. But the truth behind Dai is that he's very much a scholar, an academic. I think that he approaches things, weighs things out, and he makes the most logical choices performances. And I think that he knows that talk is cheap and action speaks loudest.
I have to say, though, I think Peter has, without a doubt in my mind, the hardest part on the show.
Absolutely.
There's no question about it. I mean, in terms of acting, and I'll see him breaking down scenes, page after page after page, and he's looking at everybody else's dialogue to figure out the beats, when in fact he may only have a line or two. And I think, wow, and to be in that zone, to stay in that zone and to listen is incredibly difficult.
Well, you know, it absolutely pays off. I mean, just speaking as an audience member, going all the way back to the first season, one of the reasons I fell in love with this show was these silent moments where an actor is just reacting to something that's going on, where there are things that happen with looks and there are things that happen with body language. All of you as actors are so present all the time in what's going on, and it makes me feel like a jerk if I'm not completely invested in everything that is going on.
I could tell you, I can attribute that to the actors on set, Noah, Patton, Colin. For me, those are the three individuals that I would give that credit to, because they just set a tone, these three guys, of professionalism, their ability. You know, these guys are all veterans of the game, the way they carry themselves, how they work, you know, and that trickles down, I feel.
Yeah.
So all those moments, whenever we look good and all that, it's because I'm watching these guys half the time, you know, to learn a couple things, and that, if anything, that's where I,
It's really
attribute
interesting
that
to hear
to.
you say that. When I was doing Star Trek and I would have scenes with Patrick Stewart, it was so important to me to work harder.
You feel me?
You didn't want to be that guy
Patton
who's not
brings
ready
that
for
out of
Gretzky's
you.
pass.
Patton brings that out of you.
Yeah.
Patton, the thing with Noah is very, he's quieter. Noah just shows up, just looks like he just wakes up and does it type thing. Patton, every little bit matters. You see the preparation, you see it. This guy, he's just like a gunslinger, cool, you know.
I was going to say, though, if you show up, if you're doing a scene with Will or Noah,
it's crazy.
if you haven't got your stuff down, they are going to blow you out of the water. You better be on it. You better be prepared, because they're bringing their A game. I think Wiley definitely sets the tone as being the leader of the cast. He works so hard. He never phones it in. He's not lazy, man. The guy shows up to play, and he's on it.
You guys have a pretty intense scene tonight where, and there's no way to put this delicately, Tom hands Pope his ass, right? I mean, he really does. And I think it says a lot about Tom's character, that it's not all these really crappy things Pope says about his kids and just the way that, it's that he takes that compass away.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, that just breaks, like something breaks in Tom, right?
Yeah,
he's like, that's
when
just, he can't handle it anymore.
Tom calls Pope an a-hole, man. It's like, okay, we're gonna, whatever has brought us to this point, this is gonna be a new moment from here forward.
It seems like Pope has been spoiling for a fight for almost a full year. I mean, even if Tom does not have the bug in his eye, then it just seems like Pope is looking for a pretense.
Would have found something.
To start something.
People are getting sick of each other. I mean, imagine we're all stuck in the same tent. You know, after a while, the elbows, it's like, I hate the way you eat your French fries. Or I can't stand the way you slurp your soup. You're just going to start going nuts.
You're the cook. You're the cook. So.
But I'll tell you, I loved that scene. I really did. And what I loved about it, and God bless everything else that is Falling Skies in terms of the VFX and the aliens and stuff, it's just two people. It's just two guys going at it. Just dialogue, and let's go. Come on, let's go. Enough of this crap. Just and to do anything with Noah is always just a real privilege.
It was a bit intense to watch these guys shoot that scene, and I'm literally right there.
Yeah.
And you know what he's going to do. You know where he's going to bring it. But I don't know if I've ever seen Noah go there.
Really?
I don't know if I've ever seen that. So when Noah got serious,
I'm looking up at him. I'm picking up.
And I'm watching Noah, and then in the scene I got to be like, Tom. And but it's like, whoa, and I almost said Noah. No, but it got that real.
Is it like, it's unsettling, right? As an actor,
a little bit.
To see somebody who's always under control.
That's why it
little
works,
bit.
because Noah is such a gentleman. He's a very calm soul, and he's gracious in real life. And when you see him go there, that's a scary thing. When you see a guy that's very composed lose it. I mean,
In a weird way, it humanizes him, right? That's
right.
that happens.
So.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit before we sat down tonight about shooting the fight, and I know that the audience would love to hear exactly what went into making that scene possible.
Well, what I was talking to you about was the first thing that hit us was that the weather that particular episode was outrageous. We hit a storm from the north, and I don't know if you guys remember, but the first day that we were shooting, it was sunny and bright and beautiful, and we shot parts of the funeral scene, and then literally the next day, it was pouring rain, and we shot the second half of the funeral in pouring rain.
60, 70 miles per hour wind.
So that's right. And then by the
Wow.
end of the
Hail.
night, we had these crazy winds, so that when they were shooting this sequence, not only was it complicated because there was lots of stunt choreography, there were many elements put to that. There's no CG was used in the making of that scene. It was all them, and Colin and Noah did a lot of their own work with that. But at the same time, we had howling winds and charging rain. It was crazy.
Cold and not fun.
I think in a way, they used what was going on to pump themselves up during that scene. So the intensity of all of that is pretty remarkable.
Before we go to the audience, I wonder, why did he take the compass? Why does he do it?
I think it was a double meaning in there for Pope. Number one, it's a tool, and we need it. No different than I'd pick up a magazine of a fallen soldier or a rifle, because that's what we're going to need to move on. But there was another reason. There was some type of resentment, some kind of a, I want it now. It's mine now.
That says a lot about him. It's one of the things that I think makes him a really interesting character.
You may be aware that the title of this episode is called Compass, and there's many meanings to that, but that metaphor is very important.
Well, let's go to the audience, and who has a question for our group this evening? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is for Remy. We're made to feel that a lot of the characters are never safe. Why did you decide to kill off Jimmy?
Well, yeah, I got that question a lot, actually. We talked about it a lot, and you'll see the convention in television a lot of the time is to introduce a guest star at the beginning of an episode, and we derisively call them the red shirt, and you can usually guess that that's the guy that's going to die at the end of the episode. And because we wanted to really make it clear that this is a world where the stakes are high, that if we just killed off the guest star, it wouldn't have the same impact. And we came to love Jimmy during the first season and the first 3 episodes. I mean, it's clear that Ben and he are best buds. And I just really wanted our audience and our characters to feel the impact of that loss. I thought it helped with that.
Felt the impact. It's like, oh God, who's next?
Yeah, who's next? Nobody's safe.
Falling Skies is bigger than any one particular person or piece. The mission must go on, and it is real. We're trying to make this thing as real, and people die. It happens.
It's just from a structural standpoint, just to have this happen so early in the season. No one is safe for the rest of the year. Every time somebody goes out on a mission, you don't know if they're coming back. For the audience, it raises the stakes for the audience in a way that the characters must be experiencing. Let's take another question from the audience.
I have a question for Colin. In this episode, we see Pope leave. Obviously, he's having a very internal struggle here, but I feel like he needs the second mass too. So what's happening?
Yeah, well, is he disappearing in this particular episode we just saw and never to return? No, I think he is going to return.
Really?
Yeah, he may even have a couple of pizzas with him when he does return. But yeah, I do think there is a part of the second mass that he does need. I think he resents it. But there are reasons that do bring him back. Though I will say this: they're not voluntary. They're not voluntary. It's not. I don't think he personally made the choice when he does come back. I don't necessarily think it's one that he would have made. It's circumstantial. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, he'd have been gone. I think he would have been gone.
Listen, we're out of time, and I just want to thank you guys so much. Thanks for making such an awesome show, and thank you for coming here tonight to talk about it. I really appreciate it. I hope we'll see some of you guys again. Next week, we will be talking to Noah Wiley and executive producer Greg Beeman. In the meantime, you can check out more trivia and behind the scenes from Falling Skies right here on TNTdrama.com. Tune into TNT next Sunday at 9 p.m. for a new episode of Falling Skies. And then as soon as the show is over, log on to TNTdrama.com for a new episode of Second Watch. Until next week.